shows, right? They're raising awareness of some of these issues. The Cuban government now allows that to be played on Cuban TV, right? There's also a thing called the package. The package is as I understand it, it's either a thumb drive or it's a disc. This is a black market product that you go buy so you can get all the current U.S. movies, U.S. TV shows. I forget the show that she was talking about, but I was told the story of a gal who, she spoke great English, and somebody said, well, did somebody teach you that? No, I learned it on, and I don't know if it was Friends or whatever the show was, but she learned it from watching American TV. And the government, the Castro government, knows this is going on, but they're doing nothing to stop it. So the people are clearly moving, and I'll tell you, I've said this, you might have heard it on the radio, because this is my true belief after being there now more than once. Fidel Castro, and here's a story from the director of the mission. He said that when President Obama called the first time to talk to Raul, he said, well, I have some concerns about your one-party government. And allegedly the response from President Castro was, we don't have one party. We have my party and we have Fidel's party. Okay? Which is interesting, but think about this. You saw how Fidel came out scathing after the presidential visit. I would argue to you the reason Fidel did that is because he knows the only thing that's ever kept him in power is that embargo and the hatred for the United States. That's what empowers the Castros. Raul clearly had difficulty dealing with press. He's never had to answer any questions before. He didn't, this was all new to him. But I think what Raul has figured out, because I had a chance to meet with they have a state-owned communications company, and we're sitting across from them. There's like 10 of them. And then there's a bunch behind them, typical Communist Party. They're just all layered. And they're telling us that from March of 2014, I think it is, to today, they have sold 1 million cell phones in Cuba. The demographic they're selling them to is 40 years old and younger. All right? I think two things to think about. I think what Raul has figured out is that we are moving into the technology age. We're already there in the United States. Cuba, if they're going to move ahead, they have to go into it. And I think Raul, despite all of his issues and the things that he's done, I think he recognizes that in order for them to do this, it's going to be a lot easier to incent people to work for themselves. And there are now some 600,000 people, by some accounts, out of this 11 million, that are self-employed. The government's allowed private restaurants. And by the way, they have a seat limit, but it's not being enforced. So, you're told there's 50 chairs. You go into these places, a lot more, and nobody's enforcing it. And they're doing well. You have seamstresses, you have mechanics, you have barber shops and beauty shops. All these small businesses are all around Cuba, and they get taxed heavily. I think what Raul has figured out is as they move to this new place, it's going to be a lot easier to incent people to create for themselves and then tax the snot out of them than it is to pay attention and watch every single one of their moves and what they're doing to control it. It's changing that quickly. And then there was one other point, but I'll say that I'll remember it in a second.
The specific question about Cuba as it relates to Minnesota, but
I don't think you're on. You're on. Is he on?
Oh, am I on now?
yeah.
That sounds good.
I guess I've always supported the idea of